Good evening, everyone. This is Ryan Hoyme, aka Massage Nerd, and tonight the show is brought to you by our friends at Massage Magazine Insurance Plus. Massage Magazine has been exploring touch therapies for over 25 years and has used the industry knowledge to develop the best value insurance possible to in business. And tonight we have Michelle Johnson of Essential E Therapeutic Massage and Bodywork. Welcome tonight, Michelle.
Hi, Ryan. How are you?
Hi. So, how did you get involved in massage then? How long have you been a therapist, and what triggered you to be a massage therapist?
Well, I've been a massage therapist for 5 years now. We actually celebrated our 5th-year anniversary this past October, and I would really have to say it was act of fate, I guess you would call it, how I got interested in massage therapy. It's a little bit of a funny story. There was a particular summer where a lot of people that I knew were getting married. So over the course of one summer, I found myself going to lots of different weddings and bridal showers. And of course, the big thing at that time was spas. And so for an entire summer, I just found myself spending week after week in a spa. And as a client, I just kind of began to look around and observe the massage environment. And I knew how it made me feel as a client, how relaxed it made me feel in the tranquil space and just the calm, serene environment as compared to the hectic corporate environment that I was currently working in. And just out of initial curiosity, I just began to talk to the therapists in the spas and research the industries and started digging a little bit into it and come to find out that I had a great interest in it. Started checking out some schools, signed up, and the rest is history.
So it didn't even take much thought. It just like you jumped into it. You felt like there's this calling then, and
I did,
yeah.
absolutely, I did. It was at a time I wasn't particularly happy in the job that I was in, and I was looking to do something different. But at the time, I didn't know what. I just knew that I needed a change, and massage just kind of fell into my lap, actually.
And what kind of things did you do before massage then?
Actually, I worked with the American Hospital Association as a records analyst. My background is actually in business information systems, so I did a lot of analyst reporting, statistical data, database management, things of that nature.
And has that helped you at all in your current field? Would you say, or?
It has actually. Being the owner of a small company, the organizational skills that it takes to have that kind of a background has translated in order to help me organize and manage and take care of a lot of the administrative functions that are involved in managing a small business.
Okay. And then, can you tell me a little bit about your Essential E Therapeutic Massage and Bodywork Incorporated then?
Sure. Essentially Therapeutic Massage and Bodywork was founded in October of 2006. When we first started, it was just myself. I started out as a sole proprietor. And initially, like most massage therapists, I was just kind of working, trying to build my private clientele, trying to figure out my niche. I spent a little bit of time in spas and chiropractic offices and health clubs, and I just really wasn't connecting there. I felt kind of constrained a little bit by the methodologies of the places there. Not that they were bad, but I just felt like I wanted to do something a little bit different. I wanted to have more of a client-based focus. And I just had different ideas of my own of the way I wanted to set things up and how I wanted to do things. And so I just kind of stepped out on my own and started to build my own practice from there. And it started out just private clients. And a couple of years into it, I ended up partnering with a mentor of mine who at that time was working on developing a corporate wellness program for Children's Memorial. And this was in '07, so wellness was just beginning to become a buzzword, and people still really didn't know what it was, but it was starting to be the next best thing. So we got together with Children's, and they did a pilot program where they just tried out a bunch of different things. Massage therapy, acupuncture, life coaching, yoga, and they did a 6-month run with the employees there to basically kind of see what would work and what didn't. And fortunately for me, chair massage was one of those pieces that everybody loved. It took off really well, and so Children's came to me and said, hey, we think this is something that will work. How would you like to stay on board and continue with this? And I said yes, and 5 years later, that developed into our worker wellness in the workplace program. And it just kind of blossomed from there, and our focus actually shifted from private clientele to more of corporate wellness. We still do private clients, but through that pilot program, we saw what a grave need there was to bring wellness into the workplace, and that's how our focus kind of developed with that.
And is it mostly employees that you're working on, or also patients too, or?
Well, no, that's what's unique about the program is that it is specifically geared to provide continual care for the frontline and administrative staff there. So we go in a couple of times a week and we set up scheduling for the staff, and they come in and it allows them to get physical, mental, and emotional restoration to help them get through their hectic day, especially in an environment such as a hospital where anything can happen at a moment's notice.
And have you noticed at all that employees sometimes don't call in sick as much on those days that you're there?
Absolutely. The great thing about the program is that we have actually had people come to work on their days off just to get their massage.
Wow.
we've been in Children's for 5 years, and so the units that we work with, we've kind of established a routine. In each unit, they know what their days are, they know what their times are, and we've had at least 3 occasions where people have been out or on vacation, and they've come in to get their massage, and they say, we know you won't be back until next month. I don't want to miss the massage. And when we started the program, initially it was just kind of like to give them a break during their day, kind of give them a little bit of relaxation. But what we noticed is that over the course of the past 2 years especially, it has kind of migrated to this proactive on-site health care where instead of just kind of relaxing people for 10 minutes, we've actually started to treat conditions. People will come in with migraines or low back pain, or several chronic conditions. And that's what we'll focus on with that particular client each time we come. And we've actually had some good results for a lot of those people. That's their only access to therapeutic massage. And it's great because as an employee benefit, it's not costing them anything directly, but yet they're still seeing the benefits of it. And as you mentioned, they call in less, the productivity is increasing. We've actually had people say, I was going to call in today, but then I remembered it was massage day. And so yes, it's people are actually, building that into their scheduling. When people are wanting to take vacation or holiday time, they actually pause and say, wait, is massage any day during that week? And they will actually plan and schedule around that. So it is a huge benefit.
And have you ever done anything with table at all there?
Not on site. Typically what we do chair, and then usually what will happen is they will migrate over to private clients, and then they'll come to our offices and see us there. With the chair, it's a lot less disruptive to the workday. Being a hospital, there's so much going on. We felt that table wouldn't really work in an environment like that, but chair is absolutely perfect because you don't have to get undressed. It's usually less than 30 minutes. You can kind of slip in and get it done on your break or your lunch hour, and it's really not disruptive to the workflow there. That can sometimes really be chaotic in the midst of a hospital.
And then your company's philosophy, I really love it. It's educating the mind, enlightening the spirit, and empowering the body. So what do you mean by that then?
When I first started at massage therapy school, I went in myself with the idea of, I'm going to go in, I'm going to learn a couple of strokes and set up this spa and get filthy, ridiculously rich. And once I started going through the coursework, I realized that it is so much more involved in that. There are over 250 types of massage and energy and bodywork modalities, and people are just simply not aware of it. Even in this day and age, people still tend to correlate massage therapy with either something very indulgent or something, more romantic, we'll just say, for lack of a better word.
Yep.
So people really don't understand the health benefits of it. So what we like to do when we see clients, we do an extensive consultation, and education is a big part of that. Just simply educating them about what therapeutic massage and bodywork is, how it works and how they can utilize it. Once people are educated, it's like they have that aha moment where the light bulb goes off, and that's what we mean by enlightening the spirit, because they become, it's like almost like a new awakening, and people realize that there are all these options out there available to them, and that translates into the empowering, because now they feel active. They feel like they have choices. They feel like they have options, that they don't have to just accept what's in front of them, that they can look at, instead of just having one or two choices, they now have 6 or 7 choices, and they're empowered to really take a look at what is the best option for them. And so they all kind of build on one another, and that's typically our philosophy on how we work with our clients.
Okay. And then what are some things that assist in decreasing corporate wellness costs?
And decreasing the corporate
Yep.
wellness costs, can you clarify that a little bit?
Yeah. How massage therapy assists in actually helping reduce costs in the workforce and
Oh,
yeah.
absolutely. Well,
Yeah.
for one, as we mentioned earlier, it reduces absenteeism, and it has a positive effect on productivity. And I was actually researching some stats with regard to dollar amounts, and now over the last 5 years, most companies have had a 36% increase in paying for healthcare costs for employees. And chronically sick employees, of course, they don't come to work, and that uh, leads to a drop in productivity, which of course adversely affects their bottom line in terms of dollars. What the research shows that we have found is that on average, just a simple 10-minute chair massage a couple times a week, on average, it saves the company $415 per employee per year. So that's a
Wow.
pretty substantial savings just for a 10-minute chair massage.
Yeah.
And when you compare that to the cost that it takes to set up a chair massage program, the benefit far outweighs that in what they gain in bottom line savings.
And are your massages usually 10 minutes long then, would you say? Or do you make them longer for specific ailments or problems? Or
Generally between 10 and 15 minutes. It typically depends on the size of the company and the number of employees that are getting massage, and the length of the shift, the amount of time that we're going to be on site at the facility. Typically, we come on site for between 4 to 5 hours. And again, it depends on the company size and the number of participants. Generally speaking, the fewer the participants, the little bit longer that we can go with the massage. The more participants, we kind of shorten it a little bit. But all of the massages are generally between 10 and 15 minutes.
and do you like to schedule certain breaks then too then, or
We do. Most of the massages, we schedule them every quarter hour. So we go 3:15, 3:30, and that kind of gives us a little bit of a break in between, so that the therapist can do a little bit of self-care, self-massage, rest their wrists. And also in the corporate environment, not just the hospital, but things happen. People get called into meetings, emergencies can happen. Sometimes the nurses can't get away right that second from the bedside. So it gives a little bit of leeway, so that they, in case something comes up, and then they can still come and get their massage.
Yep. And for myself, back in the day, before I was a massage therapist, I worked in a lot of nursing homes, and people's backs were just destroyed, it seemed. And yeah.
Yeah, and that was one of the reasons we started the program in the medical facility. Again, we were doing research, and it showed that I believe 24% of nurses leave the industry within the first 2 years because of fatigue and burnout. And low back pain was one of the most cited reasons for that. And working with children, even though we're working with smaller patients, a lot of the nurses spend a lot of time lifting patients, carrying patients, holding patients for hours and hours on end. So low back pain is one of the most common issues that we see, not just with the nurses, but the administrative personnel, because they're sitting all day, with the engineers, the security personnel, the transport team, because they're hauling equipment and patients all over the hospital. So it kind of runs across the board.
And then how long for the average day for actual massage when you're there? How much?
Say again?
How much massage do you actually do in a day when you go there? How many?
5 hours tops, between
Okay.
4 and 5 hours.
Okay. So 5 hours of actual massage then, and then you're there a little bit longer, would you say, or
Yeah.
okay? And have you ever tried to do more than that, or do you think that's kind of the limit?
Well, for myself, that's my limit. Again, I like to practice what I preach,
Yep.
and so for me, that will be my max. And again, because my focus is all about helping the client reach their maximum point of wellness. If I overextend my maximum point of wellness, then at that point, I'm not an effective therapist. And nobody wins in a situation like that. However, I do have therapists that will do double shifts where they will do about 7 or 8 hours of chair massage total. And if that's where their stamina level is, then we certainly work within that. And I try to be as proactive with my therapist as I am with my clients. And so I take each therapist into account individually to find out, what their level is, what their physical comfort level is, and how much they can do and provide and still be an effective therapist to the client without burning themselves out.
And do you have the clients fill out any kind of health form then, or evaluation form, or?
Well, with the corporate massage, that's kind of built into our when we plan with the company, we kind of put those liability issues in there, and we kind of account for that during the setup phase. But we do have evaluations, usually once a quarter. We'll have the staff evaluate the therapist, evaluate the program overall, excuse me, and ask what they like, what they don't like, things they would like to see added, things they could do without. And of course, the biggest thing that they say every time is more massage. They want more of it. They're like, you're just not here enough. We wish you were here every day. That's the biggest thing. And they're rarely, if ever, any negative or unflattering comments made.
And do you usually have the company pay for it all, or do you do a 50-50 split, or the employees pay for it all, or?
You mean in terms of financing the
Yep,
program?
yep.
Generally, the company pays for it all, and that's what's great about it. It's a benefit to the employees because they don't have to pay anything. And that's what makes it so great for them, is that they can come to work, they can receive on-site, basically, health care at this point. They can get treated for chronic conditions right there on site, so they don't have to go and, maybe pay for an office visit or pay for a chiropractor. They can be treated right there at their desk or right there at their workplace with no upfront cost for them. And then so the company usually takes care of the overall cost.
And every now and then there's probably an employee that does not want to have massage at all, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think they ever complain to their employer, or all this money is going to massage then? And
Not that I have become aware of. Generally, with the example using children's, although massage is the most popular piece to their wellness program, they do have other options. So I know that some people will take yoga instead of massage, or they will have acupuncture instead of massage. So they do have different offerings available to people who, if they're not particularly interested in the chair massage.
okay. And then, what kind of benefits do you explain to the clients that they can get out of this then?
The employee
Yeah,
benefits,
yeah.
oh my gosh, it's great for them. Again, the most important thing, the most important benefit for them is that it decreases their job stress. It decreases their anxiety level. With a lot of the nurses, and I didn't even realize this until I started there, some of those nurses work 18-hour shifts. And they do
Oh,
that for a maximum of 3 days in a row sometimes. And some of these ladies are doing this while they're pregnant or while they're in school or, have other things going on. So the biggest benefit to them is the decrease in their stress and anxiety level, which in turn allows them to have a better disposition so that they can then be a better caregiver for their patients. And even though it's, just 10 minutes, a lot of nurses have reported that that's just the thing that they need to get them over the hump for that next 6 or 7 hours so that they can be a more effective caregiver for their patients.
and do you actually have a online scheduling for this where people sign up, or is it on paper at the facility, or?
Well, the corporate programs are a little bit different from our individual programs. The corporate programs, we typically will meet with a company and do a consultation with them to figure out what their wellness needs are. Again, chair massage is the most popular piece, but we also do health and wellness education. We do seminars, we do different classes. So we'll consult with the company to find out exactly what their needs are. And then once we set up the program, the scheduling is kind of built into the, the overall corporate piece. For our individual clients, yes, we have online scheduling on our website and also on our Facebook page, which is really great because one of the downsides to being a therapist is that we are unavailable a lot of the day because we're in session. So sometimes we miss clients' calls and we get into this back and forth phone tag, or sometimes you're not able to connect with them until the following day. But with the online scheduler, they can go right to the website. The entire month is posted. So all of the days and all of the available times are there. They can go right there and schedule at their convenience. And if they want, they can even prepay for the sessions. They can book it right there. And so it's more convenient for them. They have access to that 24/7. And they can even do it while they're playing, Farmville or Mafia Wars on Facebook. they can click on our Facebook page and the scheduler is there also. They can just click on online schedule and they can find it there too.
And have you ever gone to like nurses' desks at all and just massage them while they're working too then, or?
No, because the whole idea behind the corporate chair massage is to give them a respite from their working environment. So usually we will set up in a quiet area away from all of the activity, away from all of the goings on, if you will. And we'll set up some tranquil music, maybe dim the lights, and the whole idea is to get them away from their work environment for just a little bit. So we wouldn't do it at their workspace. They would come to the quiet space. And a lot of them have said, oh my God, I went to sleep in that 10 minutes, or I forgot that I was at work for those few minutes. And that's exactly the point, is to give them a little downtime, because again, you can have as much of an 18-hour day without a lunch break or barely a bathroom break. And this kind of not forces them, but mandates that, hey, take a break, take a moment for yourself, so that you can be more effective for others. So that's kind of why we like the idea of providing a quiet space for them, to get them away from the desk. You've been sitting for 12 hours. Get up, walk around, take a break. So we typically have them come to a designated area for their sessions.
And do nurses and stuff, do they have to use their break time in order to do this, or is it kind of built into?
They don't have to. Again, that's something that we kind of consult with the company based on their activity or the nature of their business, and we kind of design a shift around the more feasible times for them. And the staff are allowed to come at any time during the shift. So for an example, one of the shifts we have at the hospital is a 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. So while that may fall between some people's lunches or breaks, if it doesn't prohibit them from coming. They can come at any time during that shift while we're on site. And usually another staff member or even sometimes the manager will cover for them, or take over their duties for them while they come in and get their massage. At other times, nurses will come in either at the end of their shift, right before they go home, or at the beginning of their shift before they get started. But in either case, they're not prohibited. They don't have to come during the lunch or break, just at any time during the designated shift that we're on site.
And do you have a real quiet area, like where the music's going on too, and then dimmed lights and things?
We do. And a lot of the staff there, we typically coordinate with the hospital. We typically coordinate with the unit manager or the administrative manager for that unit. And so they are typically responsible. They'll use like an empty conference room or a break room, or sometimes we'll even use the locker rooms. But it's usually a quiet space, and we'll come in again and we'll bring music. If it's nice out, we'll dim the lights for them. And we really try to make it a tranquil environment for them. And so, yeah, it's usually a designated quiet space. Some floors, which can't be helped because just of lack of space on the unit. Some floors, they'll use their lunchroom or their break room for the massages, and you would think that would kind of be a conflict, because over in this corner, you've got massage going on, and in the other corner, you've got people eating and laughing and watching Maury and reading the newspaper and all this other stuff going on. But the funny thing is that once people are in that chair, they zone out everything else. It does not even matter. Once they're in that chair, there's nothing else going on around them, even if there is.
And what kind of massage chairs what's the brands that you like to use? And
I like NRG. They have a chair called the Grasshopper, and I really like it because it's really light, it's really easy to set up and take down, and it's not heavy at all. For my female therapist, it's very easy to pick up and put down and to transport throughout the hospital. And I'm just really comfortable with that. It's not cumbersome. The setup is very easy. And for the ladies, the design of it is very ergonomic, so to speak. And so for our female clients that are a little heavier up top, the design of it is more comfortable for them. Or not just that, but for some of our clients who may be a little heavier or a little overweight, the design of the chair tends to support them a little bit better, and they said that it's a lot more comfortable for them as opposed to other chairs that they may have been in before.
Okay, and then what other kind of supplies do you need to bring to these things? And
it's very simple. We bring, of course, face cradle covers, the disposable covers for sanitary reasons. The therapist, they'll bring an iPod or MP3 player for music. If they like to use any types of oils or creams, what I like to do is bring a little jar of essential oil, and I'll just simply unscrew the cap and let the fragrance permeate through the room, and they love that. But it's very simple, just a little bit of music, some face cradle covers, and that's pretty much it. And that's why I love this program. It's very simple to set up. There's not a lot of upfront cost or investment for the company or for the therapist. And you can just kind of, get a tote bag, put your supplies in there, and you're good to go. It's not cumbersome at all.
And then, how do you deal with it if a female client has a dress on with the chairs and stuff, or?
Well, they just kind of pull it up a little bit. Okay. It's just the client and the therapist, so there are no modesty or privacy issues. If they feel a little bit uncomfortable, we may get a towel or something to kind of drape over them to make them feel comfortable. But we haven't had, many complaints with. They just kind of hike the dress up a little bit and hop right on the chair. Actually, the biggest issue we have is, instead of dresses, is in the wintertime when people have these big bulky sweaters and turtlenecks on. And then they come in and they're like, oh, it was massage day, I should have worn something different. So ironically, it's not the skirts or dresses, it's the big, heavy sweaters and things that people get more concerned about.
I ran into that problem once too. This one sweater, I was massaging this lady, and it kept shedding all the time. Yeah, but luckily I told her about it in the beginning, and she says, "Oh, it's an old sweater." And then afterwards, I had to actually vacuum everything up. It was that much. So.
Yeah. So that typically tends to be, or of course, being in Chicago, they come in and they've got layers and layers and layers on, and it's kind of hard to get to the muscle under all of those layers of clothes. That can be a drawback. Not often, but sometimes it is. And if they have, an undershirt or a t-shirt on, I may say, you mind taking, your sweater or your jacket off, and they're typically fine with that because they're still fully clothed.
And any certain styles of massage? I mean, I know you offer chair massage, but is there any styles that you offer in the chair at all then, or?
People often ask me that question. They'll say, well, what are you using, or what is that? Is that deep tissue or shiatsu? And I really don't have a name for it. One of the things that I like is that when I bring my therapist on board, I like for each therapist to have their own thing, if you will. Some therapists are more inclined to incorporate a little bit of energy work. Some therapists do more manual stretching and manipulation with the clients in the chair. And I like that because it provides variety for the clients. So there isn't any particular name for it. Basically, with me personally, I'm just kind of guided intuitively, I guess you could say. I kind of spend a little time, palpating and just kind of listening to what is going on with the body. And then I just kind of tailor my sessions for that. I have a basic outline, which I say I have a beginning, a middle, and an end. But that's something that distinguishes us from a lot of other places, is that we don't have a signature massage or a cookie cutter approach that we just do over and over again. It really is tailored specifically to the needs of the client and what's going on with them.
And have you ever had any your staff? It's called fainting chair syndrome. Have you heard of that term and stuff?
No, I've not heard of
Where
that.
the client will actually fall out of the chair just because sometimes the position of their neck, because
No,
they
I've
little
not
yeah
had that. I've
okay
had someone faint,
yeah it's kind of a fainting kind of thing. Yep,
kind of
yep,
fainting.
yep,
I've had that happen twice, and luckily we were in a hospital. So
yep.
so we were able to get help right away. But as a twofold, as a therapist and as a business owner, what that prompted for me was number one to take a CPR class myself, and number two have my therapist take a CPR class. Because I honestly, when that happened, I was freaked out, and had we not been in a hospital, I'm not sure what I would have done. But that was a wake up call. So now I have CPR, and I make sure that my therapists have that as well, so that they will know how to handle that in case it happens. But in the 5 years that we've been there, I've had that happen twice that I know of. Once with me and once with another therapist.
Okay, so everything worked out then, of course. And,
Yeah, everything worked out. We just immediately, went to the front desk and got help, and they were back there within a matter of seconds.
and then, did you actually have like a brochure that you gave to prospective employers before you even started setting the stuff up? Then, or how did you go about it then?
Well, children's, that came about so organically, and when we first started, it was really just a conceptual idea, and we really did kind of build it as we went along. So in the beginning, there weren't any really hard and fast rules or protocols. Those kind of developed over time. Now we do have more of standardized offerings in terms of our corporate programs, and again, we just kind of consult with the prospective client to find out what their needs are, and we say, hey, these are the different programs and services that we have to offer. We kind of compare that to what they're looking for, what their needs are. We kind of find an even mesh between the two.
Okay, so and then do you have some therapists that will even do maybe 30 hours plus a week at all with the chair massage or?
Typically, well, right now we're working exclusively with children. So generally, in 1 week, I'd say each therapist probably averages maybe about 15 hours per week.
Okay.
On site with children.
And then you have them do other things in other places then?
Right, and
Okay.
so just conceptually speaking, say we'll do 15 hours at Children's, and then we'll maybe do another 5 or 6 hours at another facility, at a different off-site facility, and they'll kind of combine the two. The great thing is the therapists that I work with are independent contractors, and I love that because it allows us to work together corporately, but it also allows them to maintain their autonomy. And so they can kind of build on things that they want to do. For an example, I have a therapist that works with me in the corporate program, but also she has a love for animals. So being an independent therapist, she has the flexibility to work with us, and then on the side, build her animal massage practice. So that's kind of typically how we will balance the two. So we kind of spread it out a little bit, so to allow our therapists to maintain autonomy and flexibility with their own wellness goals as well.
Okay. And then what do you think sets your company's massage therapy sessions apart from others?
I think what separates us from others, again, is our focus on relationship. And I can't stress it enough. We are really focused on building relationships with our clients, and our focus and our approach to therapy is client-centered. A lot of times people will call and they'll say, oh, I would like to schedule this type of massage, and then we'll start asking them, well, what are your symptoms, what's going on with you, and then they may actually find out that what they need is something different. So we really are about working with the client. We don't claim that we're going to fix you or we're going to change anything. It really is about us partnering and working together. We have a very substantial focus on client education. With all of my sessions, even in the corporate facilities, we provide everybody with what I like to call homework. Nobody leaves our office empty-handed. We always give them stretches or self-massage or other self-care techniques that they can use at home so that they can continue to maintain the benefits of what we do there in the office. And I find that a lot of our clients, they really appreciate that, and it not only keeps them coming back, but it helps them be a more active force in their own self-care, so that it becomes a routine. It's not just an indulgence or once a month or once every other week. Actually, our office is really the starting point for them, and then once they leave, they can keep it going, and over time they'll find that it's a huge difference when we work together, as opposed to them just coming in once a week to see me. And I think that that is what really sets us apart, is our focus on client partnership, relationship, and our focus on client education.
And would you say a lot of those clients in wellness facilities that you're working at, do a lot of them tend to schedule like hour massages, other places and stuff at your facilities? And
do they schedule other places?
Yeah, or do that. I mean, with you, like hour massages and stuff, and
again, it really just depends on what's going on with them at the time. If we're working with a specific condition, say a strain or a sprain, or they had a fall or something, we will typically spend maybe anywhere from 2 to 6 weeks strictly with clinical massage, which is addressing the particular area of concern. After we've addressed that specific condition, then they may migrate to, an hour massage once a week or once every other week, and then every now and then they'll say, oh, I really feel like indulging, let's go for a 90-minute aromatherapy or something like that. But again, we really keep it unique. We evaluate. If there's a client that hasn't been in to see us in 3 months or more, we do a follow-up evaluation to see how their needs have changed, how their conditions have changed. Have they gotten better? Have they gotten worse? And again, it's all tailored to the client.
Okay. And is there ever any kind of fighting to get in to get the massages at all?
At the hospital,
Yeah.
absolutely. You would not believe the managers there. They call me and they email me all the time, and they say, when it's massage day, from the time that sheet goes up or the announcement is made, it is literally like 5 minutes and it's completely filled. And sometimes there has been bickering or fighting. There was one guy who, he was a regular, and he would always get the massage all the time. And one time in maybe 6 months, he didn't make it. And he's like, that's it, I'm done. I don't want any more chair massage. I'm never coming back. I don't want it anymore. And of course, he was back the next week.
Yep.
But he was just upset that, he couldn't get in, he missed that one time. But they absolutely look forward to it. It brightens their day. And again, people say to me, I was just thinking about you. I had this headache and I thought about it, and I said, is today massage day? Or people will say, I wasn't scheduled to work today, and so this is such a good treat. And with the hospital specifically, some of the nurses, we have staggered shifts. So of course, in a hospital that large, we're not yet able to accommodate the entire 4,000 person body. So occasionally you'll have some night nurses or some weekend nurses come on a day shift, and they're like, wow, I usually work nights, so I don't really get this. So this is great, so they clamor for it and they love it. And more importantly for us, they appreciate it. The feedback that we get, it really is invaluable. And that helps us as a company to know that we're just not making people feel good, but we're actually helping people. And that's the whole reason why I got into massage therapy, is to help people. And it's one of the distinctions I make between massage therapy and what I used to do is that, in a lot of corporate environments, of course, I'm sure your viewers know that they have to wait to that one time at the end of the year to get that evaluation, to know, did they perform, did they produce, you have to wait all year to find out, if you were really effective or if you really had an impact. With massage, I know in 10 minutes, 30 minutes, 60 minutes, and it is really fulfilling to have someone come in and say, when I woke up this morning, I couldn't move my neck, or I had numbness and tingling in my fingers, and within a span of maybe 10 to 60 minutes, they're like, oh my God, I can move my neck, or the migraine is gone, or I'm not having the tingling anymore. And so that's a huge contrast. So I don't have to wait. I know right away the impact and the effect that I'm having on people, and that's totally the reason why we get up every day.
Okay. And what is this thing? It's American Specialty Health.
American Specialty Health. Well, as most of your viewers and listeners and consumers and potential clients know, unfortunately, right now the state of Illinois does not cover massage therapy the way that they cover chiropractors and physical therapists. But what a lot of companies are doing, similar to the flex spending accounts that a lot of companies have, American Specialty Health has partnered with some of the major insurance companies, and what they've offered are what they call complementary health services. So, for example, if you have an insurance company that participates in a healthy lifestyle program, or the program's designed to encourage people to live healthier lifestyles. So, for example, American Specialty Health has two. One is called the Affinity Plan, and I believe the other is called Healthy Choice. So if you look us up and say, I'm interested in massage therapy as a way of, promoting my own health and wellness, do a search for massage therapy. Essentially Therapeutic pops up, and you are entitled to receive 25% off of all of your therapeutic massage and wellness services with us. And the great thing about it is that there are no claim forms, it's no reimbursements or anything like that. You just simply bring in a copy of your insurance card, and as long as you're on the participating plan, you're eligible for the discount. And what's great about it, you can use your discount on services, gift cards, products. You can use it all across the board. And while it's not total coverage, it is something. And what I found is that not only do the clients appreciate that, but again, we're going back to empowering. They become more prone or more active to seek out therapeutic services, as opposed to just kind of sitting and suffering with the pain or the ailment because they feel like they don't have a choice. So it's like, wow, I don't get, full coverage, but 25% off is nothing to sneeze at, and I've gotten a great percentage of my private clients through that program, and they absolutely love it.
And do you think it would be more beneficial if, like chiropractors, a lot of times they can get reimbursed and stuff? Do you think it would be beneficial for massage? But I know a lot of chiropractors right now are going more to cash basis. They're frustrated with insurances and stuff.
Yeah, at this point, it's kind of hard to gauge. And again, in the beginning of my career, I did work with some chiropractors, so I did see that. And unless and until they do start to provide that coverage for therapists, it's really hard to gauge. I mean, in theory, you would think that it would be great, but like you said, because of the frustrations and, not getting paid and the whole cumbersome process of reimbursement, it could be a double-edged sword. That's something that, we'll have to, wait and see until it actually happens.
And have you had any success stories where, let's say, a client at these places just does not want massage, and then you kind of convinced them into having it then, or?
Actually, yes. There are two clients in particular, and the irony is the story that I shared a few moments ago about the staff member who got upset with the massage. The irony in that story is that same staff person, it took me about 9 months to get him in my chair. Every time I would come on site, I would say, do you want to sign up for massage? And he's like, no, that's okay. And well, there are not a lot of men, in the hospital industry as it is. And so he's like, no, if it's not my wife, I don't want anybody touching me. And no, that's okay. I'm not getting any massage. And I would say, okay. And, every time I would see him. And so after a while, he says, everybody's just going on and on about these massages. I want to see what this is all about. And finally, after 9 months, I got him in the chair, and now I can't get him out. So that's the same guy who's there all the time. And the funny thing is, if I'm running a little late, he will take the chair out and set it up. And by the time I get there, he's got the cradle on the cover. He's there and he's ready to go. So that was a great success story for me, because it took almost a year for us to convince him to get in this chair. Another opportunity with the client is someone who had had a negative massage experience with a prior therapist, and so they had kind of soured on massage a little bit. And we just kind of talked about it here and there, and after a while, they were willing to try the chair. And after a couple of sessions in the chair, working with, mindful intention and nurturing touch and nurturing holds, after a couple of sessions like that, they were more trusting and they were willing to give full body work a try again. And then eventually I was able to migrate them over to a table client.
Okay. And how many employees do you have right now then?
Well, right now it's a small staff of 3. There's myself, and I have 2 other therapists that work with me. So, in addition to owning the company, I am a working therapist, so I do still get my hands dirty. And but we're hoping that, of course, we want to grow and expand our corporate program, and so we're looking forward to over the next year or so as we expand into more organizations. Then, of course, that opens the door for more therapists to come on board, and I'm always actively looking at new graduates to give a new therapist, a leg up or to get in the door. The school that I attended, New School for Massage, Body Work, and Healing, I often go back there as a featured guest speaker for their business class. And so I always get a lot of resumes and information from new graduates or potential graduates. And so that door is always open. And so hopefully as we grow and expand, we'll be able to bring on more therapists.
And do you want to get into more hospitals, would you say, or more businesses, or what's your focus, you think?
Well, what we found during our studies is originally because of the specific turnover rate in hospitals, we initially started there. But what we found through our research is a lot of the chronic ailments that the nurses face or that are faced in the nursing community, those same chronic issues are in every work environment. They're in work environments across the board. So while we started in a specific community, we've since broadened our horizon, so to speak, and this is a program that can be implemented in any workplace, law firms, accounting firms, any type of corporate environment, any work environment where you have repetitive activity. And that can be anything from police officers to bus drivers to, teachers, schools, you name it, we can get a chair in the door. So we're open to any corporate environment, especially since we just saw a study that said the CDC says that 75% of Americans suffer some form of work-related chronic illness, directly related to their work environment. So the door is certainly open.
And how do you justify in this economy? I mean, sometimes these wellness programs, sometimes they're the first to go. I mean, how can you back that up? How can you save this? And
well, one of the things that we provide as part of the corporate program is we do provide, and this is where you asked me before, where my prior background comes in. We do provide statistical data analysis and quarterly reporting to actually show in terms of numbers and percentages and even dollars the utilization of the program, how it's benefiting the staff, the participants, the demand for the staff. And so we present that to the management, and they look at that and they evaluate that and they compare that against perhaps other offerings that they have in their wellness program. And that's a strong supporting piece that we use that gives them what they're looking for, those hard and fast data and statistics and cost analysis numbers to help keep us on board. So that's a service that's kind of built into our corporate packages that we can either do monthly or quarterly reporting to show just how effective our program is. And that's a strong support system for us in terms of, like you said, helping to keep us from getting cut out. And unfortunately, with the economy, with children's, we did get scaled back a little bit this year, but we are the #1 rated program out of all of their offerings there, out of all of the yoga and all of the other wellness offerings. We're the highest rated program. So we did get cut a little bit, but they did keep us because the program is so popular and it is so effective. And a large part of that was, in fact, due to the statistical data that we were able to provide for them.
oh, that's awesome, because a lot of times people don't have things to back up.
Yeah. But we started tracking, and the great thing is when we started there, we were on 2 units, and we came twice a month. And with the span of 3 years, we went from 2 units to about almost 30 units, and we went from one building to 5 buildings within the hospital campus. And so it was pertinent for us to track that growth, and we even got so detailed as to track the units to see who's utilizing this. Are the nurses using it more, or are the food service workers using it more? We can get as broad or as detailed as the company requires.
And then Yvonne in the chat asked, when working in hospitals, are you required to have your vaccination shots?
Yes. When we come on board, we typically will provide, of course, in addition to all our licensure and things like that, our legal matters in order. But typically we'll get our flu shots, and we'll make sure that our vaccinations are done. The hospital does not require us to provide that, but I get that from my therapist, and I keep that as part of their records. And then if the hospital ever audits us or requests it, then that information is available to them.
Okay. And where do you see yourself going in the future with all this?
What I would like to see myself going in the future with this is twofold. I would like to, of course, grow the corporate piece. And initially, I would like to migrate into more of a managerial or administrative role, and then hire out the staff. So what I'd like to do is obtain additional corporate accounts, and then bring on the staff to service those. And then I like to get into more of the lecturing and wellness education piece, and still maintain a little bit of the private table work, because that's something that I just enjoy, and I couldn't imagine running this company without being able to touch people.
And would you say a lot of businesses out there are starting to develop this? Have massage therapists on staff, or?
Actually, yes, there are. I actually was looking it up, and let's see the numbers that I have here. Again, over the last 5 years, healthcare costs have gone up about 36%, and so employers have started in that same time span in the last 5 years to really pay attention to the effect that their workplace is having on their employees' health. And so with wellness being such a big buzzword and a hot topic as of late, more employers are starting to consider wellness programs. In addition to chair massage, they have things like stop smoking programs or weight management programs, and so it all works together to help the employee achieve total wellness. But it's definitely on the radar, and it's definitely something that finally companies are starting to pay attention to.
Yeah, and then Yvonne asks also, what do you do to get corporate accounts? Do you do cold calling or write letters introducing your services?
No, and then again, children's kind of happen organically, and right now, children's, there are our exclusive corporate client. So what we're doing now, we have developed a promotional DVD that kind of highlights the features of our chair massage program and how it works and the ins and outs of how you can implement that. And we don't do any cold calling. Basically, we just we attend networking events, whether in person or online, and we just kind of take every opportunity to get to talk with people. When we're asked to come and speak on different general health and wellness topics, we always make sure to mention the chair massage program. So we do a lot of networking. We don't do cold calling or writing letters. We put snippets of the program, on our website or on our Facebook page. We kind of blog about it, and we put it in our newsletters and our monthly bulletins, and we just kind of try to drum up an interest for it that way. People have come back to us that they said that the interest is there, but again, right now, the economy is really what's kind of hindering people from it. So what companies are starting to do is just start small by having us come in, say maybe once a month, and then kind of growing from there. But it's just networking with other massage organizations, other massage practitioners, and that really is the crux of it, is really kind of building those relationships and getting out there and doing that networking.
And was there any mistakes you made early on at all that you regret and then you definitely learned from and helped you in the long run?
Oh my God, where do I start? We've only got 5 minutes left.
Yeah.
We've only got 5 minutes left. What I would say, one of the biggest, I guess, mistakes that I made, and I think most massage therapists have this same mindset. I kind of just went out there with this great passion for what I wanted to do, and I just kind of stepped out there and I said, "Oh, if I build it, they will come." And I built it, and nobody came. So 5 years later, I kind of feel like we're starting from scratch. But all of those things that you think are cumbersome or are not necessary because you're a small company, the financial aspects, meaning getting a good accountant, getting a good lawyer, getting a good advisory team, surrounding yourself with consultants and mentors, and all of those things that you think you'll need later, get them right away. Get them right away. That would be my biggest, I guess, piece of advice. And for me, and this is not an endorsement or anything, this is just what worked for me, is the SBA. The Small Business Association, or any organization that helps small businesses. I would say research, get on your LinkedIn, get on all your social media, and find any organization that you can that specifically help small businesses, because I kind of did it in reverse. There was a lot that I didn't know, and I didn't know that I didn't know it until I just kind of jumped out there. So don't wait. Think big now. Don't wait until you get big. Start thinking big and start putting those things into place now.
And what was your feeling when you hired your first employee?
I was excited. That was a great feeling, and I felt like all of the hard work that I put into it finally paid off, and I felt like my dream was finally coming to fruition, and I had done all of this hard work, and now I finally had the opportunity to pay it forward and help another therapist climb up the ladder too.
And then what are some of the big success stories you've done?
Well, of course, children's. That's the biggest. That is the absolute biggest success story that we have. And to be quite honest with you, the fact that we were able to make it 5 years without going out of business in this economy, I'm sure you've heard the old saying that most businesses, kind of go under within 3 to 5 years. And even though it's been a little bit of a struggle, we've crossed that threshold. And so now we're kind of turning that corner, and it's been very challenging, but we've been able to hang in there. And, people are still coming out and getting a massage and utilizing our services, and we feel that now that we've crossed that hump, we're in a great position to just kind of grow and expand and, put essentially therapeutic everywhere.
And do you see in the future actually helping other people develop these kind of programs?
That is something that's more of our long-term goal. Again, as the owner, I do want to step into more of a managerial role. So I would like to move again more into the lecturing, more into the education, more into the consulting piece, because people have asked me about that before, and that's something definitely that I can see us offering to companies, not only locally, but also in other states, kind of partner with them and giving them the fundamental tools that we have here, and showing them how they can utilize that within their respective states and using their respective resources that they have. That is definitely one of our long-term goals that we look to move toward.
And I can definitely see you put a lot of thought into all this, and I can definitely see why you're successful too.
Thank you.
And then what's the best way for people to get a hold of you then?
The best way for people to get a hold of us is to give us a call at 773-732-3163. They can also visit our website, www.essentiallytherapeutic.com. And of course, as I've mentioned before, we do have fan pages on Facebook, and we also have a profile on LinkedIn. So any of those methods will work. Reach out to us, and we'll reach out right back.
Okay. And thank you very much for being on my show tonight, and learned a lot, definitely.
Thank you so very much.
Yeah.
And, as always, I like to end say, be educated, be enlightened, be empowered.
Okay, thanks. And thanks everybody for tuning in.